Hey Film Buffs, welcome back to Film Feature 43. Today we're talking about a movie that is a sequel to a movie that I didn't even know had a sequel.
I don't even know who you are.
If you're like me and you grew up in the 2000s, then you have seen the movie Benchwarmers. And if you've never seen the movie Benchwarmers, you've definitely heard quotes from the movie Benchwarmers.
What's steroids?
Something that makes your pee-pee smaller.
There must be steroids in macaroni.
Because if you were like me, you were an idiot teenage boy in the 2000s, and you quoted the movie relentlessly. I feel like Benchwarmers was a movie made specifically to be quoted by stupid teenagers over and over and over again.
Ooh, is that apple juice?
No.
Well, my mom said it would give me diarrhea.
That's ridiculous. You have to try it at least once.
Diarrhea?
Whoa, dude, you smell like beer.
You look like beer.
Until everybody else in the high school was sick of it and forced you to stop quoting the movie. When I heard there was a sequel, I went out and found it. One thing that Past Me didn't know, because he's an idiot, is apparently you can watch this movie on Netflix. But I decided to watch the original first to see if it was as good as my teenage brain remembered it being, because I hadn't seen it in probably a decade. And upon rewatching the original, my one main takeaway is there were a lot more titty twisters in it than I remember there being. Like, if there was a tagline for this movie, it would have to contain the word purple nurple, or nipple crippler, or titty twister, or something like that, because every 20 minutes, somebody's getting their nipples touched, whether it be by themselves or by somebody else. The movie's weirdly focused on nipples. But overall, I don't know if it was nostalgia, or if there was genuinely funny jokes in it.
This guy's 50. He's got a mustache.
Not according to birth certificate.
He's got documentation.
But I enjoyed rewatching the movie for the first time in 10 years. I just think there's something about three losers who are standing up for other kids who are considered losers, and they're adults playing against these teenagers who are just jerks. You know, it's kind of wholesome.
I'm gonna kill your family.
But the original is definitely a product of 2006. There's stuff in it that just wouldn't happen today. There's gay jokes and midget jokes, and Rob Schneider's in a movie that doesn't star Adam Sandler. It's just stuff that wouldn't happen today. But they definitely tried in the 2019 movie Benchwarmers 2 Breaking Balls. The sequel starts with the main character Ben McGrath getting hit in the crotch during a minor league game, and that ruins any chance he has in the MLB. It ruins his marriage and any chance of happiness he has in the future.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
And I mentioned the tagline about titty twisters before because the tagline for this movie is Breaking Balls, and that is one of the only jokes that the movie tells. Guys getting hit in the crotch. Whether it be Ben getting turned down for a job interview because there's a video of him getting hit in the crotch on the internet, or him falling down while bat and squealing because he's afraid to get hit in the crotch again, or his son wearing an athletic cup constantly.
You don't have to wear a cup all the time.
And I've told you it's for protection.
Because he's afraid to get hit in the balls and be a loser like his dad. Getting hit in the crotch is this movie's bread and butter. But don't worry, it's not the only joke that this movie has. There's Muslim jokes, and gay jokes, and fart jokes, all done poorly. Now, I'm not one to get upset about offensive jokes in movies, but they still have to be done well. There's hardly anything in this movie that I found funny. The only person I even laughed at is Jon Lovitz, who returns as Mel in this movie, and he's the only returning character that links the two movies together. And although Mel comes back, his son, who was a big part of the first movie, he's the one that got beef stewed in the face.
I love beef stew.
He doesn't return at all. He's gone and long forgotten and was replaced with some weird I'm not like other girls girl. But you know what? None of that matters, because this movie isn't about adults playing kids in baseball. It's about Ben being coerced into being a manager of the Bad News Bears, of the lawyer softball league, if that even exists. And you know how in the first movie there's the fun montage of Reggie Jackson coming in and teaching the guys how to play softball with playing hot potato, smashing mailboxes, or ding-dong ditching, and that was one of the funniest and funnest parts of the entire movie. Well, this movie has absolutely nothing like that. Half of the runtime is devoted to some weird lawyer plot where the main character Ben and his love interest slash co-worker is kind of in this back and forth with their main rival of another softball team played by Lachlan Monroe, who, if you don't know who that is, he's the guy who was the killer in Riverdale, who was, I think, Betty's dad, and he was Greg from Scary Movie, and he was that one cop in Peacemaker, and he was in the original Benchwarmers as a completely different person.
You've got 24 hours. What, are you serious? If you build it, nerds will come. Keep it under $1 billion. It's all I've got. On me.
And before you say that these movies don't take place in the same universe, Mel repeatedly makes reference to the original Benchwarmers time and time again, so that's not true.
I've seen this magic before.
Anyway, each team that Ben's team plays kind of has a specific trait about them, whether they're ringers and really good at softball, or they're vegans, or something like that. It's kind of like the movie Dodgeball. If you remember, each team had something special about them that made them weird and different. But eventually, Mel's team gets eliminated because they're beaten by a better team, but that team gets eliminated because their players are on performance-enhancing drugs, kind of like Dodgeball.
God damn you, Bernice!
Anyway, Mr. Crotchshot leaves the team and ditches them, kind of like Dodgeball, comes back at the last moment to be the hero, go up to bat to face his fears, kind of like his son, who gets rid of the permacup, and gets hit again while at bat. This causes a giant fight to break out, and allows our hero to score, eventually winning the game. But not before the bad guy gets hit in the... you guessed it, crotch. Ben scores, wins the game, wins the girl, wins the case, and the movie ends, kind of generically. So what can I say about the movie? It was terrible. But at least it tried something different. It didn't go the route of like Sandlot 2 or Big Fat Liar 2, where it just reshot the original movie shot for shot. It did try to do something different than the original. I mean, it did pretty much copy the entire plot of Dodgeball, but that's besides the point. I think my main gripe with it is it doesn't need to exist as a Benchwarmer sequel. It could be its own movie, low-budget movie, which it obviously was. It's kind of like American Psycho 2. It has nothing to do with the original, just Mel shows up and mentions the original Benchwarmers a few times. It just doesn't need to exist as a sequel to Benchwarmers. You could take the Mel character out and put another weird character in there, and it could be its own movie in the bargain bin at Walmart, where it ultimately ended up anyway. And oddly enough, the humor felt like it was stuck in 2006. There were paralyzed jokes and sexual harassment jokes.
Your favorite position?
Suicide jokes, you know, comedy. And again, I'm not against edgy humor.
That's not what I'm about. Not now, not ever.
But there's got to be either a point to it or it's got to be funny. And nothing in this movie was really funny, so it kind of fell flat on that front. But I don't know what you expect more from a movie with the tagline Breaking Balls. But anyway, that's my thought on this movie that I didn't even know existed.
I don't even know who you are.
There seems to be a trend in that, whether it be American Psycho, like I mentioned, or Big Fat Liar 2, of movies that have sequels that most people don't even know exist. So I'm always on the lookout for different movies like that. So if you know of any more, let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next one.